Okay, welcome back to Vice by Alicia podcast. I'm thrilled that you are here and giving me a bit of your ear to hear stories and ideas that I find meaningful and inspiring. This podcast is designed to encourage all of you to be so inspirational that other people crave your vibes. Welcome to the podcast, Claudia Macias.
Well, thank you for having me.
Is it Claudia I Macias?
Claudia I. Macias.
Okay. I want to get it right.
Nah, just Claudia Macias. I throw the I in there because there's so many Claudia Macias out there.
Is it pretty popular?
Very popular. I
Oh.
had no idea how popular Claudia Macias. So I threw in the I for
I love that.
Isela.
Isela.
Isela, that's my middle name.
That's your middle name. I love that. You know, this episode, guys, is live stream. It's a live show. We're doing something different today. You might see that we're in a little bit of a costume.
We are in costume.
I put this costume together literally in one day. So my producer...
I put mine together last night.
I love it. My producer, Jamaal, and my writer, Arlette, are like, you need to do Halloween. I was like, I don't celebrate Halloween. I'm really not a dresser. I'm not a costume lady.
Halloween,
but you are.
Halloween
you really
is
love
like
it.
my Christmas. Like some people have their main holiday. Many people will say, "Oh, Christmas is my thing." No. Halloween is my Christmas. Like the house. We started talking about costumes starting in like August.
Yeah.
And looking on Amazon, or if I'm gonna put it together. Like we are going to the Goodwill, the Salvation Army. If we're gonna put it together, be very authentic, or we have to order something on Amazon because it takes forever.
Yeah.
So we started in August.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, it's never been like a holiday that I celebrate. Honestly, the only reason why I do Halloween is for my kids.
Aww.
But it's not because there's anything against it. Not like, there's anything like satanic about it. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
I just think it's just never been anything that I've ever really done. But I also am guilty, or not guilty, but I do suffer from the holiday blues. So when September hits and all the holidays start to happen, I'm that person that goes through like a holiday blue thing. And I don't know why, because there's no trauma behind it. There's no like thing that happened or that triggers me.
Yeah.
Never. I've just been that way my whole life.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Although my parents celebrate everything. Like my parents have always celebrated. My brothers, my sister, everybody loves it. For me, it's always been like, kind of a chore. Like once the holidays hit, I just get like, I don't want to be a part of it. I just wish it was January already.
You're like,
and it was done and it was over and I didn't have to deal with it. But I'm not sure why. I really don't know why.
That is something that needs to be investigated and researched.
I guess so.
There's something. There's something. I got a little PTSD because
But I don't know why. I don't have any trauma behind it.
I don't either. But I passed by on my way to a taco place last night and I saw the little drummer boy being set up. I'm like, wait. We haven't had
Halloween yet.
We haven't had my Halloween.
Yeah.
Do not put your drummer boy up yet. For Christmas. We're not done yet.
That's such a capitalistic thing.
You know what? Yeah,
it's capitalism, and it's all about consumerism.
It is.
And it's about buying and making sure that you're triggered by buying, consume. And I think that's what's really bugs me is that there's expectations for you to buy, for you to be a part of it, and for you to, I love holiday parties. Don't get me wrong. I love dressing up for holiday parties. I love the whole pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
I'm just not into it.
But remember, you also have this movement of reduce, reuse, recycle.
And recycle, yeah.
So maybe, and I don't know where maybe that's something to look into. Like, where does that passion come from? Which is, I think, is a great passion. Which, by the way, what I'm wearing right now is something I wore at a costume party
I love what
2 years ago.
Wearing right
so
now.
I like
so freaking cute. And your shoes are very fun.
Thank you. And everything is is something that I've worn before.
Secondhand,
worn before, borrowed it, reduced. So I love to follow what you do, and maybe it's, I don't know if it's because we grew up a certain way.
I think it is. I think it really does go back to how we were brought up, because I remember for my childhood, it was like, garage sales, fire sales. We found our jeans at the Salvation Army. My sister and I would go hunting for Levi's because that was like our coveted
that was the thing.
The Levi jeans. She says it's more the Guess jeans because we couldn't afford them. No. But for me, it was the Levi's. The Levi's were like the thing to have. And I think that has to do a little bit with it. Like I was telling Russ this morning, I said, I just bought this for like $5.
I love it.
And I said, I'm just going to make it work because I'm not buying a whole costume.
And you made it work.
I made it work. I had a black jumpsuit in my closet already, which I had this jumpsuit at my store years ago. It's probably 5-6 years old. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm wearing it.
Amazing. And you're rocking it.
You're so sweet. Thank you. So, Claudia, for today, I
Yes.
wanted, because we're doing a little bit of a Halloween series.
I love it.
Halloween is on Is it on Monday? Halloween?
Yes,
yeah, Monday, right?
It is.
So we are talking a little bit about horror stories, and more specifically, I wanted to talk to you about your dating horror stories. Because I've heard them before.
Yes,
I've listened to your podcast before. She has a podcast, Hey Comadre, and she and her two, I guess they're co-hosts.
My two co-hosts.
Co-hosts.
Yes,
You guys had some
and
really
Marianne.
good horror stories on one of the episodes at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think it was about like being triggered by certain things or like dating scenarios. So, okay, give me your horror story that we can share, because definitely it is the horror time of the year.
So all the names will not be said to protect the guilty, first of all. And any organizations, I will change the letters. But I did not realize until this past summer, when things came to a head, that I was actually involved and entangled in a situationship.
Entangled, I love that word.
With someone who I believe was a psychopathic narcissist.
So how did you become entangled? How did that happen?
Well, it started so professionally, and that's one thing you look at. You want to be with someone that's like you, right?
Yeah.
So I met this person, and it was a very professional setting, and we had a lot of things in common because of the work we were doing. And I asked around too, like, hey, what do you know about so and so? Oh no, he's a good person,
Everybody vouched for him.
Everybody vouched for him.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, all right. So then then I realized I didn't know what was happening then. What I know now is that our first meetings or get-togethers or coffees and a little bit of wine, he was literally interviewing me.
Ah.
And then because everything that he would bring out was connected to my own, I guess, healing from having panic attacks. Okay. And getting professional help for that.
Right.
And and I would post every, my journey along the way.
Yes, I remember
from COVID.
that.
Remember from COVID, it was really hard.
Right.
I had brain fog. I had panic attacks. I ended up
So
in the
I got
emergency
COVID
room.
right before you did. I think you got it maybe a month or two after I did, but it affected me really, really strong too. It was October 2020. When did you get COVID?
No, October after Halloween.
Right after Halloween.
Right after Halloween.
It literally happened like
sick.
almost after. Yeah. For me, it was like the first week of October that I got very, very sick with COVID.
And mine was right after you.
And so it triggered panic attacks?
What triggered panic attacks was that I could not remember things.
Oh.
The brain fog was so intense, and I was a teacher at the time. I was an educator. So recalling information and trying to teach kids online and with a mask and not remembering things made my blood pressure go up, made my panic attacks come on. So I started recovering from that.
Yeah.
Ended up meeting this person. I did not know that he was using his own mental health supports and his therapy to get into my mind. That was the horror, I think, that I want to say.
How was he getting into your mind?
He was saying everything I wanted to hear. He was using.
Let's talk about love bombing.
Yes, he was.
What is a love bombing?
Love bombing. He would give me so much attention. He was there. He was attentive, and then he would kind of disappear a little bit.
Yeah.
But then come back and check. But I didn't know that when he would disappear, there were other people that he was involved with. Okay. Entangled with.
Entangled.
But he made it seem like I was the only person. And then it was a back and forth. And me kind of like, let me just step back. But there was something in my gut that kept telling me something.
You had a gut instinct that something wasn't right.
Yes, but I was not vocal like I should have been to ask and investigate more. I have no problem interviewing people and talking about stuff. But for some reason, when it came to this, I'm like, I was so enamored, I guess. There was this attention coming this way. And,
you liked it.
And I liked it. And then he's a professional like me. I'm like, okay, we're both professional, educated. We're working for the community, blah, blah, blah. It all matched. But there was just something that just was not sitting well. But then he would always say the right things to bring me back in.
Like what? What was he saying? For those listeners out there that are probably confronting some similar situation, what is it that they say to you?
Like the last thing that happened was when I knew that I fell into it again, but then I was able to quickly withdrawal.
Okay.
And was when I found out that my ex was going through stage 3 colorectal cancer at this moment. And we had just gotten the diagnosis. And I had been MIA for a while from a lot of things. And he was like, how are you? Where have you been? You haven't texted. What's going on? And I thought to myself, my first gut instinct was, well, you know my phone number. You know where I live. Look. But he didn't. But then the way his messaging, his voice, the words he said, hey, I'm here for you. You know I'm here for you. Yeah. Anything you need, call me, text me. I know what you're going through. He said everything that needed to be said about what I was going through with my ex, and hearing that diagnosis, and dealing with my daughters having to hear that same diagnosis
of their father,
and figuring out, okay, they're going to a new school. I have this new profession, this new job, amazing role. And I told him everything, and he was there listening, and he would say back everything. He was mirroring my sentiment, my feeling. Then he would bring in like, oh yeah, I know what that feels like because of his past losses in his life with cancer, the loss of his family members, 3 major women in his life. He was relating
things to himself.
So he was able to bring me back in.
Right.
But I had been doing a little bit of homework before that. I thought, I don't know, this seems a little narky. What's going on? So I started researching narcissism, which led down the path of psychopath.
Okay.
And then I started seeing some stuff that I'm like, wait a minute, this kind of resonates.
What if there's a woman out there that's going through this, but she doesn't research it and she doesn't look deeper into the messaging?
You know what?
What can you suggest she do?
Listen to your gut.
Listen to your gut.
The biggest thing I can say is that moment when you have a question, when you're trying to figure out, should I say something? Should I not? Should I speak up now? Should I not? That right there is already a sign.
Why are we so reluctant or so afraid sometimes of speaking up and saying, okay, I need more information right now. I'm not really getting this. I don't understand this. Why is it so hard for us to sometimes go in deeper?
For me, I did not want to lose that connection. When his attention, which we now call love bombing, showed up, it showed up when I needed it. And that, I was afraid of losing that. I was afraid of losing the physical piece. Yes. I was afraid of losing, period.
Got it.
And I think it also comes from me being a people pleaser. I grew up in a household where I was a mediator between my parents. I was a mediator between my brother and my mom, the mediator between my brother and my dad, the mediator between my mom and my dad, the mediator between my dad and my mom. Got it. I always wanted things to be happy, good, positive, perfect.
Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
Yeah, so that's definitely a role that we take on as the oldest of the family. Yeah. Are your parents still together?
They're still together.
Okay.
I don't even know how.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us kind of get told very early on in our life is to be nice, don't question it. Like, they would say sometimes like, ve a saluda a tu tío. Me saluda al tal y tal, and you were like, I don't want to saludar that person. No. I can't. Pero no, salúdalo. Yeah. That's the right thing to do. Like, be polite, be courteous. Yes. We taught you the right manners. But in our little bodies, in our instinctual little body, our little gut told us that person is gross, disgusting. I don't want to get close to him at all. But we never said anything.
Absolutely.
I don't think I ever told my mom or my dad, like, ugh, I don't want to touch that man because he's so fucking gross.
Yeah. And that could be, that's their brother or their relative.
Yes, their relatives. Yeah.
With that, Alicia, I was very adamant with my own girls. Your body is your body. I was very also vocal with my parents that if my girls don't want to hug you or anyone, that they don't have to. That when they go to family gatherings or it doesn't matter, friend gatherings, they can saludar, like a wave or a handshake or a smile, and that's okay. I was not going to force something on them because I don't want their instinct or their gut to be clouded. Yeah. Because I think, like you said, that cloudiness can make us second guess ourselves.
And then we don't trust it anymore.
We don't trust our instinct.
And that gut instinct is telling you something. it's really telling you something.
Yes.
And I think we're kind of taught to ignore it.
Yes.
So that we're nice girls and so that we are polite and well mannered because you know, te educaron bien, right?
Exactly.
Like, te educaron bien. And I think that's one thing that we really lose in terms of like teaching the girls to be nice girls. It's like sometimes they have a gut and they're like, I don't want to say hi to this person. I don't like, you know, there's been instances where I tell my kids, I'm like, I don't want you guys sleeping in so-and-so's place.
Yes.
Because I don't trust the person there. I just don't. And there's a gut feeling. I don't know. I don't have like a specific reason why I don't want you to sleep there. But I just don't like it.
Something.
It's just something tells me I want you to come back home. I want you to go home. I want you to just, you know, because honestly for me, I don't think there's room for error. And if I feel something very strongly, I'm going to just say it.
And that is something that I am still working on for me. It's gotten better, so much better.
Yeah.
So much better. But I'm with you with the whole spending the night or going to visit. Have my girls gone to overnights? Yes. But you know what I tell them to? I go, look, I'm going to meet with the moms. I'm going to talk to them, have conversations. I'm going to go to the location. Even if I say yes after I know the mom, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to have coffee with the mom. I'm going to be there in the cocina, checking out the house.
Yes.
And then, because I'm feeling the location, I'm feeling like what's going on here. I'm having
You're
conversations.
surveying. You're making sure everything is up to par for you.
And then I tell them, and then I make the decision. Okay, yeah, you can spend the night. You know what? No, you're gonna come with me. I don't care if it's midnight. You want me to come pick you up at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever. Spend as much time as you want with your friends, but you're gonna come home. And even if I do feel good about the situation, I still tell them, you can call me, text
any
me.
moment.
And I tell them in front of the parents too, so that they know.
That's
my
so
girls
good.
know that
is so
any
good.
moment that they feel uncomfortable or maybe they change their mind at the last minute, they want to come home, they can call me at 1, 2, 3 o'clock, whatever. I am there.
Yes. I agree with that. And I think at some point, the kids realize that mom has a reason for why she does not want you to be there very long.
Yeah.
And I think my kids know that because they never asked me to stay at anybody's house. They know better than to ask me because I'm just going to say no.
Yeah.
Definitely going to say no. Even though maybe the family's okay. I mean, maybe my family is okay. Like they'll stay at my family's house and because I know my family and I trust them very well.
Yeah.
But it's nobody else's house. There's no way. And so again, going back to the conversation of trusting your instinct and trusting your gut feeling. And not forcing our girls to do anything they do not feel is comfortable for them in their gut. Because a lot of our parents forced us to say hi to certain and hug so-and-so. And if that person hugs you and kisses you, I was telling Rusk about this last night because we were talking about this conversation. And I said, I do remember instances where there were family members, quote unquote family members, that would hug you extra tight.
A little bit harder, a little bit
They would hug you a little extra tight.
Or they give you that kiss, you're like,
and then there was like the sloppy kiss. And I told him, I said, and there's a certain thing where they hug you in a way where they're really feeling your breath.
Yes.
Where they're really feeling the top part of your body and they're like really into it. But it's sort of seen like, oh, that's so-and-so and he's part of the family. And as a young girl, 12, 13 years old, you're like, ugh, this feels so gross. I don't like this. And my gut is telling me something.
And your gut's telling you something. And, you know, the numbers have shown, the research has shown that most of the molestations, most of the inappropriateness that happens, it happens with someone within the family or a close family friend. You always think about el cucuy, o no, el viejo te va a llevar, you know, los que están allá afuera. But really, it's not that.
I know.
I mean, you and I as educators, I remember going through those trainings.
We went through the trainings,
Most of this stuff happens with the Cub Scout leaders, with the
pastors,
vacation Bible school,
the church
leaders,
guys, the Boy Scouts.
The predators will look for places where kids are most vulnerable and around.
Oh.
And then with family, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's not shared. Like I met a wonderful person, and I was going to go off topic a little bit, but he shared 2 instances with me where he now was, and he's a boy, he's a guy. Yeah. But when he was a boy, there were situations that were these manly, you know, experiences that were
very heterosexual.
To a man, but it was a woman who was 20 with a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And I told him after he feels like, yeah, she did this to me. And that could be like a badge of honor and for some men in that community. Oh man, you got hit on by a 20-year-old, oh my God. But it wasn't just being hit on. It was being felt up. by a 20-year-old. And I told, after he shared with me, I go, you know, that was wrong. He's like, yeah. But he didn't know, but society gives you all these other thoughts that oh yeah, you got this older woman after you, like, oh, that's cool, right? But you're still a kid. You're 12, you're
still
13.
A kid.
She's 20. She's a predator.
So let me go back to this conversation. Okay, so we're both Gen X moms.
Yes.
We're both Gen X moms. You're 48, I'm 47. I feel like there's moments when I become a little too overprotective of my kids.
Yes.
And it's not because I don't think it's because I'm fearful of anything. I think what I'm worried about is that I did not see something coming before it happened. And my boys are my life, you know. So for me, well, of course, our kids are our life. Our kids are everything. Yeah. So you want to do everything you can to protect them. And I think us as Gen X moms, we have this really openness and conversation that our parents didn't with us.
No, yeah.
I know my parents didn't have this openness. They didn't say,
no,
you know, si tu tío te toca. No. Like, they didn't say anything.
No.
Like, and so
saluda a tu tío. That's what they said.
Saluda a tu tío. You know, saluda al amigo de tu tío. Él es el amigo de tu tío. Like, yeah, I don't know el amigo de tu tío. El compadre, el otro amigo que vino del otro lado, like, and like a bunch of bullshit. And but my parents didn't do that to me. My parents were really good about, like, you know, if you don't say hi, that's okay. Like, move on. But I'm really cautious now about telling my boys, like, if you feel like something isn't right, you must get out and you must let me know, and we will get you the fuck out of there. Yeah. There's no reason why we will have to stay. But I think our parents would have not done that. I think our parents would have probably said, when, you know, but give them the benefit of the doubt.
I can't say that my mom, I remember my first sleepover, she parked down the street. There was before cell phones, before all that, and I would look out the window and feel safe because I knew my mom was over there. Wow. But this was at a friend who was a friend that I had since kindergarten. And she met the family, and we didn't have the sleepovers until we were older, like in 4th, 5th grade. But my experience, and I'm going to say this, and this is really a little bit hard, but I've only said it once to an aunt, a really dear aunt, one of my mom's younger sisters. But the reason why I am so, like, no one has any authority over your body except you. No one, no playing doctor, no playing this. No, we're not going to, no going into a closet. I say that from experience because that happened to me. I'm not going to say names because we're all grown and have our families and have our careers. But there were instances where I would spend the night with cousins and those games would happen. And I partook in it too because that's what you do, right? And I was a kid. So that's what I carry inside as to why I make sure that my girls, like, you call me, you feel uncomfortable, even though I'm getting a good vibe. If you change your mind and you call me, maybe that's something that I need to work out. And my aunt did tell me, I know there's something more. Yeah. And at some point you'll be able to heal from it.
And you never said anything to anybody?
Never.
Why not say anything to anybody? Not even to your mother?
No.
Why is that?
I did not want, I was ashamed. And I saw how my dad and my family would always get together with all the cousins and the aunts and the uncles.
You felt like you were putting
I didn't want to mess that up. And then later on, I did not know that I had a cousin, an older cousin, that did molest one of our younger cousins. And he later on, you know, got married, had kids, got divorced, got married, had more kids. And now one of his adopted daughters reached out to me and said, he did this to my sister. And I'm like, fuck. He didn't do that to me, but it was another cousin that this happened with. And I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, report him. I don't care if it's my cousin. Do what you got to do. You need to make sure that he doesn't get near you, your sister, your kids.
Claudia, why are we so protective of that? Why do we protect everybody else around us, but we don't protect our own mental health and our own well-being and our own persona? Like, we're very interested in protecting the family dynamic, making sure the family dynamic isn't broken.
Yeah.
But yet here we are putting up with bullshit from people because we just cannot
Yeah.
put somebody in a bad light because they're seen as citizens of society. What bullshit are we?
I know.
Are we
I
doing?
know.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our kids. So let's say we're the people that were in that situation. How we're teaching our kids to be really proactive and like immediately when shit goes down, you fucking tell somebody.
Yeah, and I think with me, I have been a proponent and a hero of I love you no matter what.
Yeah.
I remember writing a book, a children's book, calling it, and that was the name of it. I love you even when you ... I love you. I love you even when you cry. I love you even when you mess up. I love you even when you're shy. I love you even when you're bold. I love you no matter what. And I always tell them that. I go, I love you no matter what.
I do too. Yeah.
You might do something that I don't like. That's okay. I don't like what you did to your sister. I don't
there's
like
no conditional love, which is something that's very
no matter what.
That's very common in the Latino community. Is I will love you, but you will have to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And one thing I've told my boys, and my boys are very clear on this, is I wasn't raised very religious. Actually, my parents were not religious. They were Catholic. They are Catholic.
Uber Catholic.
Yeah, but they were cafeteria. They're cafeteria.
Oh no, I love it. I'm cafeteria Catholic too.
So they were like that. So they actually didn't raise us to be, like, oh, you save yourself for marriage. Oh, you don't do anything that's outside of like, that it's sinful. They didn't raise us that way, honestly. And so one thing I do tell my boys a lot is like, guys, you guys are so lucky that mom and dad are not bound by religious doctrine and dogma. That if there's anything that's happening, we can talk about it and be super clear about that, because that's as a mom, I'm very grateful for that. That I do not have that sense like, oh, that's a sin, you can't do that. Oh, no, you can't.
You're going to hell.
You're going to hell. Like
you gotta go to confession.
That bullshit doesn't run with me.
Neither
so
with
one
me.
thing I've told my boys is like, anything that's going on, whatever the conversation is, mom and dad are going to be open to have it, because we are not tied down by anything.
No, it's human existence.
Yeah,
and that's it. It's humanity. It's human existence.
It's freedom.
It's freedom. It's biology. It's like, I am here, and I'm your guide on the side.
It's a guide. That's exactly what it is. It's a guide. It's not an authoritarian figure like our parents were in some points. Not mine. Mine were not that way. But I think there was a lot of women that I knew that were raised to be like, you marry the first guy you have sex with.
Yes,
or you don't marry until you have like a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Then now in their 40s, they're like, ugh. Why the hell did we even listen to that?
I know. And I'm hoping that they break that cycle and that
I don't know
chain.
if they'll ever break it,
but
to
hopefully,
be honest.
By hearing this, they can hear that what their inside is telling them was right for them. That if they felt that I should fight against that, or I should question that, or I should do something different, even if you did it different on the down low, because I did a lot of things on the down low. I call them workarounds, down low, because my parents had certain things that they wanted me to do. But there were certain things that I wanted to do that didn't align. And I had to also just figure out, how can I reach my goals? How can I go out with my friends? How can I have a relationship? How can I do these things that I want to do without making them mad?
But again, that goes back to the conversation of like, why do we have to hide? Why are we hiding? Because they're not allowing things to happen in their free way. Like behavioral science, human emotion, human behavior, it's all natural. I mean, sex is a natural part of life. Masturbating is a natural part of life. There's so many conversations that can be had. Yeah. But a lot of them are like, oh, you don't do it, you don't do it, you don't do it. So then what you're doing is you're hiding. You're going around in circles, trying to figure out a way. Oh, I don't want to hide. I don't want this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. As opposed to saying, you know what? Be careful. If you're gonna have sex, go use a condom. If you're gonna have sex, be respectful of your time, of your heart, of your life, of your body. That's where the conversation is.
And it's funny because with me as a teacher in preschool and pre-K teacher, I remember kids, during nap time, putting their hands in their pants. And that's normal because you see that they discover themselves. And I never treated it as something abnormal or get mad at them. I would just like, okay, and that was it. And I would let the parents know. But I would tell the parents too, I go, this is normal. Kids are going to start discovering themselves. They're 3, they're 4, and their hands in their pants is normal. So just want to give you the heads up. And then when it happened with me with my own girls too, and and one of my kids was like in the middle of like stuck her hands in her pants. I'm like, okay, mommy, this is something we don't do in front of everybody. But I made sure that she didn't feel bad.
Yeah, you didn't shame her for it. You just educated her a little bit.
It's in private. Yes, your hands, that your body, your hands are for you. And no one can do that unless you give them permission. So as I got older, I would relate to that. I go, yes, you're going to have these feelings, but remember, your body is yours. For someone to have access is because you're giving them permission and you feel safe, and it's up to you.
So how are you raising 2 teenage girls? How do you raise them in a world where it is about consent? It is all about consent.
Constant conversation that you have the last word. Okay. That no is no, and if it's a yes, it's a yes. But that if your no is a no and you don't feel comfortable, it's a no.
And if your girls are sexually active, how do you confront that situation?
You know what? I haven't gotten there yet. I'm talking to my comadres that have already gone through that to figure out how to approach that. Conversations, have them now. Make sure that they feel comfortable enough. We've done the period talks. We've done about I've shared with them my experience, my first time. And that I was older, and that I wanted to do something. I didn't want to do that.
With your girls.
That I was older. I was in college. I wanted to make sure that I was emotionally and mentally ready for that. So I have shared a little bit about that, like my story. And
but you shared the emotional component and the mental component, not just the physical.
Yeah, both. Yeah. Being safe.
I love that.
And also that I did not want to do that until I was mentally and emotionally prepared for what can happen later, that I would be attached. I want to be with someone that, the feelings that come with that.
Yeah.
Like it's heavy. And then I did share about, the girlfriends that did go through it, and they were like, this is the first guy, I gotta get married. And they stayed in an abusive relationship
forever because they just can't get out of it.
Because they just felt like this is what my mom, my church, my whatever.
No, they don't want to disappoint anybody. Exactly. They don't want to be that disappointment to anybody, even though they're miserable and sleeping with a brother, because they're not even sexually active anymore. They're not even attracted to each other anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think I love this conversation about us because we're the kind of mothers that are kind of in the middle from the generation of you never talk about it.
Exactly.
You don't say anything. You just say, oh, you don't have sex before marriage. That's it. Bottom line, shut up.
Yes.
And then the conversation with the kids that we're raising were Gen X, Gen Z. You and I are Gen Xers. We're raising kids that are in a different era. They're the iPad kids, the iPhone kids. They grew up with, so much different stimuli in terms of social media. We didn't have it. We didn't grow up with any of that. I think I got an email when I was in college.
Me too.
That's when I got my first email was my college email. And it's a different scenario. But I think the one thing that we do have that's beneficial to us in terms of mothers is that we know the way we were raised. Yeah. And the way we do not want to raise our kids like that.
Exactly.
I see that, and I see some things that my parents did in terms of being super territorial and authoritative. And I think about it and I'm like, yeah, I'm grateful that they were like that with us back then because we needed it at that time. But you can't raise those kids nowadays with those same principles. I don't think it works. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. These kids come from a very different generation, a different upbringing.
Yeah. And sometimes I find myself on the struggle bus because you think that because I'm in education, I've studied childhood development, this and that, but now it's my kids. I'm like, oh my God! Then you throw in all these other things like the technology and the accessibility and how kids are learning things younger. Now at a younger age than what I learned. Stuff that I learned in college or college age, kids are learning now at a younger age in middle school and even younger. So with that in mind, it's I embrace the struggle bus. I embrace asking, people like comadres that already had kids older than me and have gone through it. I embrace saying it's okay that I don't know all the answers, because that's another thing too, is growing up, you don't put out there that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't put out there that you need help. You just buckle down and get to it. But then why? Why am I going to do that? then that causes like mental health issues, and like you feel like you're like the worst parent ever, or maybe you can't fulfill yourself with whatever that is your goals in life. Ask. I'm okay with saying to my girls sometimes, you know what? I don't know how to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
Because I've never been the parent of a teenager.
Yeah.
This is my first go round.
It's a whole ball game.
Yeah. Every stage, there are times, and I'm vocal, and I love, and it's a double-edged sword, because now my girls are vocal. So now there's sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm the mom here. Be quiet. Like you gotta do as I say so. But then I'm like, wait a minute. That's a double-edged sword, because I want them to be able to speak up.
So that's the key. Mm-hmm. It's something that our parents didn't allow for us. We didn't vocalize our feelings. We didn't vocalize why we thought something was bad. They just said, cállate, and that's how it is, and I'm your dad, and you shut up because I'm your dad, or I'm your mom, and mom knows better. But no, we let our kids, okay, why do you think this is wrong? And they will confront you, and they will say, Mom, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't think you should do that, I don't, I don't agree with you.
Yes, I get that all the time.
And I often think, like, wow, our parents just kind of shut it down. Like, they say, no, cállate la boca, nobody, who are you? You're nobody. I'm your mom. I'm your dad. But one thing we have been really good about, and I think it's a plus.
It's a plus.
I think
it's
so.
a big plus.
I think it's a plus, is our kids advocate for themselves.
Yes.
And if they don't like something, they'll be like, I don't like this, Mom. Why are you making me do this? Yeah. And then it's up to me to say, you know what? This is why I do not want you to do this. And guess what? The kids respect that. I think they do, because they realize that there's a reasoning behind your punishment or the no. There's a reasoning behind it. They're not getting just like, no, porque dije no, es no.
That's it.
And that's it.
Tu mamá y se acabó el
soy tu mamá y ya cállate. That's it. And my kids get to see, okay, they get to hear, well, you know what? This is why I don't want you to do this. 1, 2, 3, whatever it is.
The why.
The why. And honestly, I feel like it makes them more thoughtful in terms of what they do, because they know that there's consequences for everything. Yeah. There's a cause and effect. Yeah. When we were growing up, we only knew the cause.
That was it.
And then the effect, my parents knew the effect. We didn't know the effect. We didn't know what the hell's going to happen.
And then what would I do? Oh, you said no? No problem. I'm still going to go.
I'm going to still do it.
I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
But I never did things that I knew. That's another thing. My dad was always really big on my future. What do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah. What college do you want to go to? So he already implanted that. So every decision I made, even if it was against his no, I always balanced it with, okay, is what I'm about to do going to keep me from getting to my goals, or is it not?
It's true.
Even the people, even the boys, even the guys that were like in the middle of like this heavy intimacy stuff when you're like in college, and then I swear to God, I hate to say this,
your father's
I would see my dad's face,
too. I did,
okay, is what I'm about to do going to get in the way of my goals?
It's true.
Or am I being safe, or emotionally, can I handle this because I got a big test?
No, it's true, because you see your father saying to you, you're like, too. I trust you.
Yes.
You're a smart girl.
Yes.
You always make the best decisions. And I'm thinking about him when I'm about to do something stupid. I'm like, okay, fuck that. I'm not doing it. Bye.
Exactly
I can't. Yeah.
Exactly me.
Yeah.
But
that was me too.
I always made sure that whatever it is I chose to do, that I made sure that it never got in the way or impeded my goals of graduating from college, moving forward with everything I had on my goals list at that point. I always thought about that.
Yeah.
But also there was that burden. You're the first one to go to college. You're the first one to do this. I was always the first for everything, and I don't want to let my whole village down.
No, and I think Rusk and I have talked about this in other conversations, where we have these curses, these immigration, we're kids of immigrants. So we can't and I don't know if we've called it a curse. What do we call it?
Could it be
shit anymore. I remember talking about this in one of my talks. Is like, I was going out of town with Rusty. We were dating. We were out of college, and my dad would never let me go out of town with a boyfriend. There's never ever happening. And I remember telling my dad, I want to go to New York with my boyfriend. We're only dating, because we were just dating. We weren't even engaged yet. And my dad goes, "Oh, you graduated from college. You can do whatever you want. Like, go up. Like, it was like." I was like,
and
what?
you're like, wait a minute, what?
What?
You're letting me down, Dad.
His only goal for me was just to get a college education. He was like, ya te graduaste, ya puedes hacer lo que quieras. I'm like,
wow. Well, okay.
Wow.
If it was that easy.
It was that easy.
No metiste la pata in between. Do you remember that saying?
No metiste la pata. Oh, no saliste con tu domingo 7.
That's another one.
Yes.
I'm like, what the fuck is
no
that
saliste
shit?
con tu domingo 7. That was the
You're
thing.
good.
No salgas con tu domingo 7. Like, that's the one thing you don't
And I was like, what happens on
Sunday? I know. Yeah. I think these things are ingrained in us.
Yeah.
And I think the conundrum now for us is like, how do we raise our kids to kind of understand those values that we were raised with? Because those are good values.
Yes.
I don't deny those are really good values. I'm the person I am today because of my parents and their upbringing and their intensity in terms of our education and how you don't give up. You go, and you don't stop until you finished. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're finished, when you complete. And that's the value system that I want to translate to my kids, and something that maybe you'd want to translate to your girls. It's difficult though for kids who now see college as like, Mom, I'm not really liking it. I don't really need a college education anymore. College doesn't hold the same value it used to back in the day. They have a point.
Yeah, that's true. And I always tell my girls, I go, look, if you are building a business and you're using all of these technology gifts that there are now. Because back in my day, if you wanted to record a record, you really had to go to a studio. You had to hire a band. You had to have a band. You have to really work at the technology stuff for that to happen. Here, you and your friends on your phone, you're done. You can record something. Billie Eilish recorded her whole CD on her bed while she laid there with a microphone and her phone and got a computer, right? Her brother did the music and did the mixing. I go, you have so many avenues. If you can come to me, if you don't want to go to college, okay, that's fine. What's your plan? What's your plan then? Because you have so many things at your fingertips. You can produce, you can create, you can sell, you can upload, you can do everything at the touch of your hands. So you got that plan, I'm all for it. I'm behind it. Other than that, you're going to go to college. But I don't see it like that. I'm more like my dad. Like, hey, what college do you want to go to? What do you want to study?
Right.
It's more that way. Because I remember my dad saying that. What college do you want to go to? What do you want to study? What do you want to be when you grow up? And now I add, if you don't know that right now, it's okay because you'll figure that out. I don't want to. I also want to add that because my girls are always asked, like by friends and family, because they see who they are, they see who their mom is, and I always tell them, don't forget to also say when people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You add, hey, I'm looking into XYZ. I like this. I like to study that, but I also want to be happy and healthy. Add that to your future, your current and future goals.
And I think that's the new generation parenting. It's like really considering where our kids really want to go and where they want to head in terms of their life. We have a very creative son, and Rusk and I are not very creative. We're very type A, analytical people.
True.
But Rusk, you want to jump in on this conversation?
You're creative too.
In terms of parenting, we have to really adjust ourselves to the new parenting, to the new ways we're parenting our kids. We could not raise our kid the way we were raised because we tried it. We were like at a point where we were like so frustrated with our kid that we were like, we don't understand him. We don't know where he's coming from. How is he going to make any money? Rusk is very business oriented. This kid isn't going to make any money. Like, how is he going to make money being an artist? And this kid has been proving us wrong.
There you go.
He's been proving us wrong. He's been proving to us that there is a possibility in doing something productive and being a creative kid. Something we had no fucking clue about.
There you go.
We did not have a clue about that.
And with my family, with my parents, I'm a singer. I love to sing. I love being on the stage. I love to sing a song and to give that feeling to someone. And I had been doing that since I was 5. And then as I got older, my parents would tell me, only 1 in a million to make it, and they never supported that piece.
Your singing career.
Yes. I did it on my own. I did it behind their backs. I recorded a CD. I sang in a band. They had no idea at first. It wasn't until I finally recorded the CD and I made a big announcement. And then when I had my whole family visiting for Thanksgiving once back in the 90s, early 90s, I said, I have a big announcement to make. I just want to share something. And I saw my family, my mom and my dad's faces go white and like, what?
Oh my God.
You know what they thought I was going to announce?
What?
That I was pregnant.
Oh, no.
They were so scared that I was going to announce that I was pregnant. I'm like, why would that even cross your mind? I'm announcing that in the middle of me going to college, I'm also in a band, and here's the CD I recorded.
That's hilarious.
So now I took another. Maybe I'm on the balance scale. Maybe it's heavier on this end and I'm coming from experience where now I'm like, oh, my girls, you like art? Okay, we're gonna put you at Cassell. Okay, see, Bilad, you like to sing and dance and do some acting? Okay, we're gonna put you in Wildfish. I mean, I tell them all the time, I hate girls. If you like this, let's do it. We tried soccer. They didn't like soccer. They busted out a kneecap. One of them did. I'm not gonna do soccer. The other one likes volleyball. I voy con el volleyball. You want volleyball? Okay. The classes, the outfits, showing up for the games. You want a clinic? Okay, let's find you a volleyball clinic. You want an art clinic? Okay, let's find you an art class. I'm on the other end now.
So you're like exploring. You're like, let's explore that. Let's see where it goes. Let's see where it heads.
I'm not telling my girls.
No.
Only one in a million make it. That is the worst thing that my parents could have told me, and I love them to death, and I did it because they were protecting me. And they were only protecting me because I found out later that my dear grandfather, my mom's dad, who started El Costa Azul, who was given the keys to the city by the mayor of Houston back in the 70s to bring salsa music, música tropical to Houston, would perform at the Pan American, Los Globos, had a band, launched the career of Rigo Tovar.
Oh my God.
So, and he was a bootmaker and a shoemaker, made boots for the presidents and for actors and for Hakeem Olajuwon. If you remember Houston Rockets, my grandfather was a shoemaker and a performer and an artist, okay? So he kind of had some people on the side, women. And so then my grandmother put her foot down. She said, either you choose music and that life or you choose us. So because of that, my mom saw that. When I started showing this talent, my mom and my dad both squashed it. Oh. Because they saw what happened.
What it led to.
When my kids, especially the little ones that are showing interest in music and drama and dancing, I was like, I got her an agent. I'm taking her to auditions. I'm taking her to classes. And my mom was like, why are you doing that? It triggered her. Yeah. I knew about that already. Yeah. I said, look, Mom, this is a different path. Mm-hmm. If she goes to an audition, I'm going to go with her. If she becomes a singer, actor, whatever, I'm going to be her. I'm going to be the mom manager. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be with her. I'm going to be like the Kardashian mom, whatever. I'm going to be with her. I get it. Yeah. I get your trauma. I get that happened with you, your parents, your dad, my grandfather. Mm-hmm. But with me, if my daughter has a talent and she wants to explore it, I will be there next to her. I will be the one to make sure that we sign the right contract. I will get lawyers involved. Yes. I will give up my job and travel, and that will be my job.
So basically, as opposed to being a detractor, you become an advocate for your kid. Mm-hmm. And you become the voice of reason in a way. Mm-hmm. Like, did we do this? Did we do that? Did we check this? Instead of saying, well, if you want to do it, go figure it out.
Or don't do it. You're not going to do it.
Or burst their bubble completely. Which is very possible is when you don't understand a creative kid or somebody who's very different from you, and you're thinking, how the hell did I give birth to this child? Instead of saying, okay, what can we do to support your dream? Yeah. What can we do to lead you in that path where you're really wanting to go, as opposed to being, oh, that's not what you're doing. There's no way. That's not happening. That's not the family you come from. Mm-hmm. We don't have any artists in our family. Mm-hmm. But honestly, just being open to the idea of like, okay, well, let's see where this is going. Are you really passionate? Are you really good? Are you, excellent? Are you going to put your whole heart and soul into it? Yeah. That might be the option. That might be the place.
The only thing we can do is just support and be there. And one thing I've adopted, which is very different than my own upbringing, is try it. If it doesn't work out, what I want you to say 40 years from now, or 50 years from now, is, hey, at least I tried it. Yes. Maybe it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but I'm not going to wake up one day when I'm 60, 50, 70 saying I should have. I want you to, when you're exiting this world and you are surrounded by your family, I want you to say that I did everything that I wanted to do in life, that I tried it, I was successful. It wasn't, it's okay, because you're going to close your eyes and say, I did everything that made me smile.
Right.
And I told my girls that when I got really sick with COVID, I told them, I said, look, after I was okay, I said, there were many nights that I prayed, because they weren't with me. They stayed with their dad because I didn't want them to be around me when I was going through this. I said, at every night I would close my eyes and say, God, if I don't wake up tomorrow, I can say that I did everything. I tried it, and I had an amazing life. And I'm leaving behind 2 amazing little girls that are going to make an impact on this world in their own way.
In their own way. It's beautiful.
I'm sorry, Mom.
I love it. No, this is a great conversation. Yeah. I think we're going to take a little break. And then on our way back, we're going to talk a little bit about Texas voting and politics and where we're heading. And I think it's so important that we have this conversation now because the stakes are high.
They are very high.
The stakes are high, and we cannot let this opportunity just slide. So let's take a little break, and let's come back and regroup. And in the next session, my husband Russ will be joining us, and he's going to talk a little bit with us about politics and where our state is heading and what it means for us to be voting in the state of Texas. Thank you, guys.